What's up everyone, MeJP2 here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at level 50 Clodsire in the Ultra Premier Cup. Now I love Ultra Premier because the fact that there's no legendaries just makes it a lot more fun, because Cresselia and Registeel are two of the most annoying Pokemon in the entire Ultra League. Oh, I mean also Giratina Altered, but I think that Cresselia and Registeel are even more annoying than Giratina Altered, and also Tapu Fini's gone. I could go on a rant about Tapu Fini, but basically, the team that I used to use to actually climb competitively got core broken by Tapu Fini. So I was able to climb really high and hit Veteran before Tapu Fini released. But after Tapu Fini released, I haven't been able to hit Veteran since in the Ultra League. So I don't really like Tapu Fini. But that does mean that with the Ultra Premier, those legendaries are gone. And it does allow for some other Pokemon to see some play, like Clodsire. I feel like Clodsire is good because there's all these counter users like Annihilate, and there's also the fairy types, and Clodsire beats them both. And it's also just insanely bulky, and its access to Earthquake also means that it still has play into steel types and stuff. So it actually, I feel, is pretty good. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Let's get to the battles. Alright, so into the first battle, and we lead Annihilate into Galvantula. The opponent actually immediately switches out, which is not something I would have really expected because Annihilate doesn't exactly have an insanely good matchup into Galv. Galvantula still has some play, but I mean, I'm fine with it because if I can keep switch here, then I can just align the Galv into the Clodsire, and Galv just kind of suffers up against Clodsire, so I think that'll be fine. So now the opponent is going to have a Mandibuzz, and Aerial Aces will add up, but Moonblast with its super effective damage should come pretty close to taking him out. We actually do grab a shield, and now the opponent, they do have to go for I think a Dark Pulse or Foul Play to take us out, but they actually just switch out into Galv. Now I am running Stone Edge on Clodsire. I was expecting to see more Charizards and Talonflames, but I actually didn't see very many of them. Now Stone Edge is nice because it will hit for super effective, but this is still an absolutely dominant matchup regardless, as Galv cannot hit anything into Clodsire because it's heavily resisted. Now Stone Edge, because of the debuffs, does not take him out. That's probably better, because I can get a full farm down, come out with 100 energy, and at that point I can probably just switch out and clear the debuffs. I do decide that I'd rather just preserve some HP, go for a Stone Edge, probably could have fully undercharged that and it still would have taken him out, and in the back it's Lantern. So now I'm going to switch out into Annihilate. The opponent is going to go for a move here, but I can keep my two shields, so the opponent sends in the Mandibuzz, which they obviously will. I can actually just still no-shield this, as an Aerial Ace still doesn't take out Annihilate. And now I can go for a Night Slash bait and a Shadow Ball. Go for the Night Slash first in case we get a boost, because then the Shadow Ball does more, but it doesn't matter anyways. But I don't even think we needed a boost here, as this Shadow Ball still does take him out. Now they have the Lantern, but we'll be able to make it to a Night Slash. Now we have a move on all of our Pokemon, so we probably are just going to be able to triple combo play them. We get the Night Slash, we get the combo number 1 with the Moonblast, we grab the shield, and combo number 2 with the Clodsire. And this Earthquake, Lantern's pretty bulky, but no debuffs on the Clodsire means the Earthquake will take him out, and we are able to take that game. We see Escavalier on the lead in the next battle. Very good lead. The opponent sends in Shadow Swampert, and level 50 Altaria is just going to shut Swampert down so hard. Now on PvPoke, it does say that it's not a insanely dominant matchup because Swampert's Hydro Cannons still do a lot, but I still think this is a dominant matchup because we can basically tank 3 Hydro Cannons. I think if it was a non-Shadow, we can actually tank 4 because they never farm down. And we even get a Moonblast debuff. So now the Hydro Cannon definitely won't take us out, and that also means that there's no way they farm us down. Hydro Cannon doesn't take us out. Now, I could try and no-shield here, but I do get worried. So I can just commit a shield, farm down, and the opponent sends back in the Escavalier. But this is the thing about Altaria. Altaria is insanely bulky. So we make it to 1 Sky Attack, and if they're going for a full farm down, Altaria makes another one. This thing is very bulky, and that's why I like playing with it, because it's so much fun. Now the opponent is going to immediately send in Golisopod after I send in Annihilate, and I can go for a switch into Clodsire, because they can go for Liquidation, no debuff, and we can just go for 1 Stone Edge. Now, Stone Edge doesn't take him out, but it does some pretty heavy damage. Now, they have to go for a Liquidation to take us out. Now, shielding is... I could shield a bait, and that could end up not working well. So I will just send in Annihilate and keep the shield for the Annihilate. Now I can go for a Shadow Ball. I didn't know if Night Slash KO'd, just wanted to guarantee the KO because Escavalier doesn't have much play. Now there is one lose con here, shielding the first move, because if they Acid Spray bait, then if they had a second move, they could take me out with it. So I actually do no shield, and it is the Acid Spray. So I am able to just take him out, and I do take that game because of that play. We see Shadow Dragonite on the lead of the next battle. And Shadow Dragonite is not the best for Annihilate, but because we can bait having Ice Punch, it's fine. I was actually considering making a video about Night Slash and Ice Punch on Annihilate, but I decided against it as I fear that without Shadow Ball, it would just not be good. Now, the opponent is going to go for a Dragon Claw. I should be able to farm up to a Shadow Ball, and they can go for another move here. This probably would take me out, so I will be shielding. And now, at this point, I do decide that back-to-back Night Slashes is probably better, because I should be able to grab the shield back or switch. So the opponent does no shield, and I do get a farm down. But now, I should be able to get a Shadow Ball into whatever they bring in. They send in Venusaur, and this Shadow Ball is nice, but Venusaur just gets crushed by Altaria anyways, so it's not really necessary. Now I send in Altaria, and this Venusaur, there is nothing they can do. And if they have like a Fairy type in the back or something, this game's over. So they can go for Sludge Bomb, and they send in Hitmonchan. And yeah, Hitmonchan doesn't really have much play into Clodsire, unless they're running Ice Punch. I assume they're not running Ice Punch if they concede the match, so probably didn't have Ice Punch. Into the next battle, however, and we lead Annihilate into Alolan Mach. Now, I would prefer to have close combat here because I can hit for neutral damage, but overall, I think close combat, it is fun because you can catch some Pokemon off guard, but overall, I think it's just inconsistent. I think Shadow Ball's better because it doesn't have a debuff. Now, the opponent is going to lose CMP on the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball will not take him out, but now, since we're debuffed, Dark Pulse will take us out. However, Clodsire can come in, and we get a pretty big Mud Shot farm down, and with those, I think, 6 Mud Shots, Clodsire should be able to do pretty well in whoever they send in. They send in Jellicent, though, and Jellicent is kind of a problem because I think we need 3 Earthquakes to KO. I try and catch a Surf, and in the back they have Poliwrath, and there's really not much we can do here. Like, in the 2-shield matchup, Poliwrath just beats Altaria with Icy Wind. Like, that's the one thing I didn't like about, like, the previous season move update, was when they gave Poliwrath access to Icy Wind, it just made Altaria's matchup into it even worse. I have to try and get shields down here so that Clodsire can make an Earthquake, but shielding here, and while I do get their shield back, they leave with energy, and I don't even get their shield back, and they just farm down. I try to switch out into Clodsire to have something to clear the debuff, but I just get farmed down, and now this game's completely lost now because they can go for an Icy Wind. That attack debuff is never going away. Now, I don't really see a point in shielding the first move at least, but I can try to win. Like, I'm going to keep fighting, but as you can see, I need an Earthquake, and I need probably like 2 more Earthquakes, or maybe a Stone Edge, but they have way too much energy. And yeah, they're at the back-to-back here, so this Surf will take out Clodsire, and we do lose that game. Into the next battle, and we lead Annihilate into Goodra. In the Dragon matchups with Annihilate, you always want to farm up to at least 6 to flaunt having the Ice Punch. I farm up to 8 though, because the Shadow Ball is probably even more threatening. And now, an Ice Slash does grab a shield because I did farm enough. If I just farmed up to 5, there's no way they were shielding. Now I can shield back, as Aqua Tail would do some okay damage. Now I will farm up to the Shadow Ball, and I will go straight for the Shadow Ball. This does look to be a CMP tie, and the opponent does let it go, and Goodra gets taken out. They then send in Shadow Ampharos, and I am going to go for a Night Slash here. I was worried that they'd just go for a move and I wouldn't be able to get any energy off, so I did just decide to go for the Night Slash. Now the opponent does farm up 1 more, and then go for a Brutal Swing, taking on Annihilate, but Clodsire will just crush the Ampharos, so there's not much they can do. They can go for a Brutal Swing here. Brutal Swing does not do much. They send in Poliwrath, and well, the Altaria into a Poliwrath matchup is clunky when there's multiple shields in play. When there's no shields or Altaria's just up a shield, it's pretty heavily slanted toward Altaria's side. So you can go for your Moonblast. Moonblast will land for some heavy damage, and we have a Stone Edge banked on Clodsire, so I don't need a shield here. Icy Wind will take me out, but since they don't have back-to-back, we can just go for a Stone Edge. My phone like shook weirdly there, I don't know what that was. But now, Ampharos has no play into the Clodsire. we can make it to an Earthquake. Earthquake will take out the Ampharos from this range, and we are able to take that game. Alright, we lead into Ampharos in the next battle, and we did just lead into a Shadow Ampharos, but the regular one, I do prefer to farm up to the Shadow Ball, and this opponent does look like they're farming up to a potential Zap Cannon, so I might even shield. They commit a shield in return, so I actually decided to call the bait here, and yeah, they actually do go for a Brutal Swing. Now they're going to go for another one. I am going to shield. This might not KO, but it would put me in a farm down range. Now I should be able to farm up, and now I think Night Slash will KO from this range, so they have no reason to shield as I have the back-to-back. They actually do shield though, and I get a boost. So because of that, I can actually just fully farm down now, and whatever they send in has to tank a boosted Shadow Ball. They send in Poliwrath, and Poliwrath's pretty bulky, but Poliwrath will still not appreciate that Shadow Ball. We even make it to a Night Slash as well. Annihilate just goes on a rampage when it gets the boost, and the boost will take him out. In the back, it's Aurorus. So this still doesn't... It's still... The game's still not over, basically. Because Weather Ball will do some nice damage. Now, I can make it to an Earthquake, but Clodsire, because it isn't very attack-weighted, Earthquake still will not take out the Aurorus. Now, I try and catch a Weather Ball, because Weather Ball won't KO. But they can go for Meteor Beam. Meteor Beam won't KO either, but it still does a lot of damage. We do get a farm down, though, but that could have been actually a lot closer, because Aurorus, with the ice coverage, does kind of beat both my back Pokemon. We see Steelix on the lead of the next battle. Opponent sends in Golisopod, and Golisopod is going to be hard punished by Altaria. Now, they go for a Liquidation. Liquidation, I don't think that got the debuff. Now, I can farm up and go for a Skytech. The opponent should be recognizing this is a terrible matchup, so I wouldn't shield if I were them, and they do rightfully no shield. Now, they go for an Aerial Ace. At this point, I make a play. I want to give the Steelix less farm, so I am going to let myself get really low. And they go for an Aerial Ace, and now I get very low, but they send an Annihilate, which is kind of a problem. So not going for the immediate farm down actually does not play into my favor there, as I get less farm now. They are running Ice Punch as well, which means Clodsire takes super effective, but now they send in Steelix. Now, I always no-shield the first move, because if it is a Psychic Fangs, it will debuff my defense, so the next Psychic Fangs will do more. So I do no-shield the first one, and now the opponent does shield the Night Slash. Now these counters will be adding up, and the opponent can go for another Psychic Fangs, but I should be able to make it to at least 2 more Night Slashes. So I can go for this Night Slash. This Night Slash will probably not get shielded because they probably know it's a Night Slash. But now I can make it to another one, and I throw right before they're able to make it to another Psychic Fangs. And if I were them, I would just let this through. They do let it through, and now I can send in Clodsire, and Clodsire should still comfortably tank 2 Ice Punches here. So even if they make it to the back-to-back, I probably might not be able to, but I have a shield, so they still do need a second Ice Punch, and I can make it to an Earthquake. And now, at this point, I do even realize that my Annihilate still doesn't get farmed down, and we should be able to actually make it to a move. So the opponent realizes they have to throw, because I'd make a Stone Edge otherwise. So they do go for an Ice Punch, taking me out. But now, I can just go for a Night Slash. I'm going to go for as many counters as possible, though, just to make sure I can get as much extra damage on. And now this Night Slash, if it KOs, I win. And the Night Slash does KO, and we do take that game. You see Weezing on the lead in the next battle. This is a terrible lead, but I have to stay in because Altaria really doesn't like the Fairy types either. Like, this is the one thing about this team. If I see a Charmer on the lead, I basically lose. They're even running Play Rough. The opponent tries to snipe with Greninja, so I am able to bank a ton of energy. And now I can just send in Altaria. Greninja does not like the Altaria matchup, but they get a boost. And now it's not even a bad matchup because they can just go, they can probably shield, and the spamminess of Greninja means they can take this matchup. They actually do no shield though, and we do get a farm down, so it's not looking terrible anymore, but this Weezing might even be able to just go for a full farm down. Now I can go for a Sky Attack. The Sky Attack will do some okay damage, but Sky Attack really doesn't threaten them too much. Now I can send in Clodsire. Clodsire should hard wall them, but they have Annihilate in the back. Now Annihilate is going to have its counters resisted by Clodsire, but still it's not the best matchup. as they can just go for a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball does a lot of damage into Clodsire, and we are going to lose CMP on the Stone Edge, and this is a Night Slash, I think, but I have to shield it. They go for the Night Slash, and at this point, I feel like if I get a CMP Sack Swap and they shield, I might be able to win. And they do actually go for the shield on the Stone Edge, and that is a CMP. That is a CMP tie right there, and it is the Sack Swap. The opponent does let it go through, though, so they do recognize that Weezing's their win con. And this Weezing has so much energy, because remember, they farmed down my Altaria earlier. So I can tank one Brutal Swing. I can make it to a Stone Edge, but this Stone Edge just grabs their shield. And so the opponent does shield it, and I can shield this Brutal Swing, but they're like 2 or 3 off the next one. And yeah, they have another Brutal Swing, so we will be losing this game, unfortunately. You see Haxorus in the next battle, and of course this is the one that's running Dragon Tail, and so that means that this is not as good of a matchup because we don't resist their fast move. However, Night Slash will grab a shield, and they can go for a Breaking Swipe. I can shield, though. I am worried that they could probably just try and farm me down. So now, because they threw the Breaking Swipe, I am actually going to be able to throw one turn before they make it to another move. Actually, no, never mind. They were at 3 Dragon Tails, not 4, but I am able to throw on perfect timing. They go for a Breaking Swipe. They do get the attack debuff this time, but I am able to just fully farm down. And now at this point, now that all shields are down, Clodsire should be pretty good because it does outbulk basically everything. They set in Togekiss, though, and Togekiss is, well, I am kind of sad to not be running Sludge Bomb. They have Swampert in the back. And as I was saying, the Clodsire, despite not having Sludge Bomb, Togekiss still does take Super Effective from Stone Edge, so it's still a dominant matchup. Now, the opponent, they have Swampert, but in the Zero Shield, Altaria crushes Swampert. So, you see 2 Hydro Cannons, still doesn't even do half. Like, that's the thing I like about Altaria. It's a bulky Dragon Flying type. Not very common in the Ultra League, because you have, like, Dragonite, and that's basically the only other Dragon Flying type you really see. So having a bulky Dragon Flying type is very good. Now the opponent can go for a 4th Hydro Cannon. This still doesn't take out Altaria. Now they try and snipe with Togekiss, but I'm not dumb. I switch out into Clodsire. And now 2 Stone Edges will take out the Togekiss. So even if they can go for a move here, they have no move that can take me out from here. Even if they're running Psychic, that would still probably not take out Clodsire. Togekiss can't run Psychic, though, just so you know, but even if they did have it, it wouldn't take out Clodsire. We are able to take him out with a Stone Edge and farm him down, and we do take that game. We see Kommo-o on lead in the next battle. And while Annihilate is typically good into other fighters, this Kommo-o is running Dragon Tail, so they're actually going to be able to go for a move here. I shouldn't be able to get taken out by any move. They go for a Dragon Claw. No, I am going to go for a Night Slash bait. This could be an Ice Punch or a Shadow Ball, so I wouldn't be surprised if they shield. They do shield it. Now, I am able to make it to another Shadow Ball, and this Shadow Ball will take him out, so they have to go down 2 shields or go down 1 shield and still lose Switch. They send in Jellicent, though, and up energy. Jellicent is not fun for my backline. If they're running Ice Beam, it still doesn't take out Altaria, but it's still not exactly the best matchup. Now, I am able to go for a Moonblast. I do throw on good timing there. I have trouble timing the charge moves right when I'm single turn move like Dragon Breath. I actually do good at debuff with the Moonblast, though. So that's actually very good. They go for Shadow Ball. Doesn't do much now that they're debuffed. The opponent has Tentacruel in the back, and yeah, this game's over. Up a shield, Tentacruel gets crushed by Clodsire, so we are able to take that game. Overall, I think Clodsire is actually pretty good. Like, its piping plus its bulk is something that a lot of people don't expect. Like, you'll usually see, like, Nidoqueen or Nidoking if there's, like, a Poison Ground type in the Ultra League. But, like, having a bulky alternative like Clodsire is a lot of fun because it can catch people off guard. Now, during these battles, you're probably noticing my team really is kind of weak to Shadow Feraligatr. I didn't see a single Feraligatr during any of these battles. Like, I didn't even edit them out. Like, sometimes if I get, like, RPS, I won't show those battles because those are boring and they're not really fun. But, like, I didn't even see a Feraligatr, like, at all, which does work in my favor, but it was confusing because I do feel like that thing should be dominant in this league. Anyways, that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.